Hi, my name is Renee Boyke, and this presentation is for my senior thesis for my capstone course in Integrative Studies, INTS 4350. A little bit about me. I am a senior at Texas Tech. I should be graduating hopefully next Saturday with my bachelor's in university studies. My three concentration areas are sociology, communication studies, and organizational leadership. Originally, I had started at Texas Tech in 2003 and had to withdraw in 2007. So I re-enrolled back in 2015, and the quickest way to accomplish a bachelor's degree was to enroll in the university studies program because it is online, and since I do live in San Antonio instead of Lubbock, that was the best option. The title of my thesis is A Joint Effort, THC, and the Addition of Legalized Medical Marijuana to the Texas Healthcare System. The abstract for this thesis states that millions of Americans are afflicted with cancer, the nation's second leading cause of death. Despite legal restrictions, cannabis is often used to relieve chronic and neuropathic pain caused from the effects of chemotherapy in cancer patients. Cansatorium, Texas, was the first company to receive state approval for medical cannabis from the Texas Department of Public Safety for a select amount of people suffering from intraceable epilepsy if federally approved medication had not remedied the side effects from prescribed medication. Medical marijuana has shown to be helpful for reducing nausea and vomiting linked to chemotherapy, yet there is little human research that backs up the claims people make about the plant. However, a growing body of preclinical evidence suggests that cannabis has earned a place in the patient's daily routines for a reason in hopes of drawing attention as to why Texas should legalize medical cannabis for individuals diagnosed with illnesses other than intraceable epilepsy. This thesis claims to draw from economical and medical standpoints, along with experiences based from interviews with cancer patients whose lives have benefited from cannabis use. The background on why I chose this topic is because one of my very best friends, Jen Donalds, was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 2 actually, at 33, and she was healthy. It didn't run in her family, and I watched her go through chemotherapy, doing 7 rounds, and just seeing how it tore apart her body, and none of the medications that were prescribed to her oncologist for relief were working. So as a last resort, she decided to try medicinal cannabis to see if that would help alleviate some of the symptoms caused by the chemotherapy. So as stated, she completed 7 rounds of chemo with the aid of medical marijuana, and in order to do that, she had to travel to California, Seattle, and Colorado to obtain medical marijuana licenses in each state, since medical marijuana is not available in Texas. Typically, she would not be the type of person to attempt to do drugs, but like I said, it was a very last resort because she was so miserable during her year in chemotherapy that she had no other options. Jen lost 20 pounds, and the medical marijuana did help with the anxiety and her appetite, and the sedatives and the anti-anxiety medication that were prescribed, like I had mentioned, did not work during chemotherapy. So there's a before chemo and after chemo pictures, and you can see just how awful that medication affected her body. So as of 2017, she has been in remission for 3.5 years, and she's thriving, she's doing great, but she does continue to use medical marijuana for PTSD resulting from her cancer diagnosis since it was such a young age. And the way she had found out that she had cancer, she went to go see her OBGYN because she had some questions about her breast tissue, and they said not to worry about it because she was so young. So she decided to get a second opinion, and that's when the other physician decided to send her in for a mammogram, and she discovered she had cancer. So the background in or for marijuana states that ancient cultures grew the plant for herbal medicine in Asia around 500 BC. California was the first state to legalize marijuana for medicinal use by individuals with severe or chronic illnesses in 1996. And as of 2017, medical marijuana is legal in 28 states. The medical marijuana in Texas route started in 2015 because Governor Greg Abbott signed the Compassion Use Act. The law allows neurologists and hepatologists to prescribe low THC ranked cannabis-based medicines to people with untreatable epilepsy. But that's it. There's no like you can't purchase it, or it can't be prescribed to anybody else that has cancer, that has glaucoma, that has any other diseases that medical marijuana could possibly help. So under Texas law, cannabis medicine cannot exceed 0.5% THC, but the federal limit for hemp is 0.3%, which you can purchase these products online. And so that's what my friend Jen had done. She had done her research and realized that she could have purchased these products, but she felt that they weren't strong enough to help her get some sleep, to help her regain her appetite after her chemotherapy sessions. September 1st, 2017, the Texas Department of Public Safety had issued licenses for 3 companies to grow pot and produce medicine in Texas. So my first standpoint, I decided between the interdisciplinary nature for this complex problem, because you cannot buy marijuana in Texas since it's considered a substance 1 level and it's highly illegal, is the economic standpoint. And this is based on research done from variations from other states where you can purchase medical marijuana. So cannabis dispensaries in Colorado sold a lot of recreational and medicinal cannabis in 2015, according to the State Department of Revenue. And also Colorado collected more than $135 million in marijuana taxes and fees in 2015. But from those fees, over $35 million, which funded school construction projects and infrastructure projects. So the state actually did benefit immensely from the sale of medical marijuana. Other economic benefits for Colorado had included the 3 types of state taxes on recreational marijuana, which was the 2.9% sales tax. There was a 10% special marijuana tax and a 15% excise tax on wholesale marijuana transfers. Also, in December of 2016, Colorado collected $1.3 million in recreational taxes, fees, and approximately $2 million. So, like I said, again, that state benefited from the sale of medical or medicinal cannabis. Other states that have benefited from cannabis also include Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Alaska. Like I had mentioned, over 28 states now have the ability for patients to receive medical marijuana licenses. So how can Texas benefit from medical cannabis? Well, legalizing the plant can bring revenue to the Texas economy from medical use sales. Regulated medical marijuana can create thousands of new jobs in our state, from horticulturists cultivating the plants to scientists and techs working in labs to test the safety of the medicine, even employing individuals at dispensaries that help, I guess they're called bud tenders. They help individuals choose the correct type of strain that can help with their ailments. And I didn't realize, but after doing all this research, that there's so many different ways of prescribing medicinal cannabis. You can smoke it, you can ingest it. There are drops, there's topical ointments. There's a variety of different options when discussing how to treat these ailments. So the industry experts believe that relaxing the restrictions in Texas and making medical marijuana more widely available would allow the Texas market to rival California's estimated $2.8 billion cannabis market. The other interdisciplinary perspective I used was the medical standpoint. So there are two main cannabinoids from the marijuana plant that are of medical interest, and they are THC and CBD. THC can increase appetite, reduce nausea, decrease pain, inflammation, and muscle control problems. The other one, CBD, it does not make people high, and that's what people typically assume marijuana is used for. It can be useful in reducing pain and inflammation as well, and controlling epileptic seizures. Other medical benefits include the reduces nausea and vomiting. It can combat depression, and especially with cancer studies, like I had mentioned with my friend Jen, she was able to revive her appetite, and she was able to eat after her chemotherapy, because once she began her chemo sessions, it completely destroyed her body, and all she wanted to do was sleep, and she became frail. She used to be a marathon runner. She was extremely active, and she could not do any of that while taking her chemo, because it just wrecked her system. So, in conclusion, many cancer patients suffering from the effects of chemotherapy have turned to using medical marijuana as a last resort for symptom management when they cannot get relief they need from the drugs administered by their oncologists. The American Cancer Society does support the need for medical research on cannabinoids for cancer patients, and recognizes the need for more effective therapies that can overcome the often debilitating side effects of cancer and its treatment. Typically, whenever I was trying to figure out what complex problem stood out to me, I never thought I would be researching any type of drug use, but because that's just not my style. I mean, I don't judge. If you do it, go on with your bad self. But seeing one of my very best friends actually benefit from the use of it because her body was so wrecked by chemotherapy and cancer made me realize that if people in Texas if I knew one person that had gone through all those trials and tribulations of the effects of chemotherapy and this had helped her, why is it not available for other cancer patients or for children that are going through these type of diseases and they cannot get their hands on it? Like, she should not, in my opinion, she should not have had to travel to California to receive a license or drive to Colorado to purchase edible candies for consumption because of her chemo. And those were the only ways that she could have accessed it. The same thing, she had to fly to Seattle to receive topical ointments that were strong enough because she would put it in her lotions because her skin was so dry from the chemotherapy. So I hope you enjoyed my presentation and you learned something new about the medical marijuana use. And thanks.